Welcome, welcome. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting little discussion or share of a article I just stumbled upon, and maybe it's a blog. I actually don't know the original author, but I think it's from 1 or 2 years ago. But it just came up on my radar, and it's worth sharing because it's some of the points hit close to home, but also some of the trends I've been seeing are very pertinent, especially for Westerners. So basically, oh, did you guys catch? Are you guys watching the Richest Man in Babylon? I did chapter 3 today. This has got to be my most favorite book. Well, of recent times. I haven't read many books recently, but this is brilliant. Today was the chapter was talking about luck, good fortune, and basically the premise of the chapter was men of action are favored by good luck. Men of action are favored by good luck. So to do is to dare, kind of deal. If you dare to do, you may end up getting your fair share, right? And it's certainly kind of playing out for me, being a passive, voyeur through life isn't nowhere to go. You got to make your own impact. You got to really push yourself, because who's the best cheerleader you're going to have in your life? It's going to be you, right? You're the captain of your own ship, right? This really, like, for men, is you make your own destiny. So this article is basically talking about millennials, and I am Gen X, so I'm like early 40s. I'm going to be 42 this year. Never been married, no kids. The reason was I wanted to wait till in my late 40s until I've accomplished most of my goals, till I've seen the world and etc. I think I've been to over 20 countries. I haven't been to Africa or South America, and Asia's on my list. So it's basically Europe. I've been to India, North America, Canada, America, Mexico, Hawaii. I would love to go to Japan, like literally go to Japan and spend like an entire season there, like go in like March and just hang out for a couple of months. Who knows? Maybe next year, once all this stuff is past us by. So yeah, the article is about millennials, right? And the title is called "The Dying Children." So this guy was like, "I'm one of the oldest millennials." I'm reading it now. "Something terrifying is happening to us. We are dying while we are still children. We men are going bald." Yeah, I'm kind of filling out a little receding hairline, but I can get that fixed. "And the ladies are starting to sag. We have graying hair." Yeah, I've got some salt and pepper going. "Our eyes crinkle when we smile." Actually, I've got some good skin, thanks to being having some melanin content going on. "Our eyes crinkle when we smile. We have unsightly fat deposits that are going nowhere." I'm jacked, so yeah, but I've got a beer bulge. Because why not? You've got to enjoy your life. I enjoy my food, enjoy my beer. So yeah, I can get lean. I can get a flat stomach, but I cannot, for the life of me, get abs. Just the genetics. There's only so much you can do against your own genetics, right? Eventually catch up to you. Our joints pop in the morning. We get injured by turning around too fast. Our vision is fading. Our reflexes are slowing. Many of us know someone our age who has died of cancer, heart attack, or some other old age disease that occasionally strikes the middle-aged. And we're still children. The oldest of us are rapidly closing in on 40. I think they are 40 now. the oldest millennial? I think, oh yeah, definitely are, because millennials that generation starts in 1980, the firstborn, right? So they're 41 now. Some of them. We are the least married, least fecund. I don't know what. I think it's a typo. Least fecund generation in history. Really, only 30% of people under 40 are married. Wow, that's a crazy stat. Big brain thinkers blame economic conditions, largely because big brain thinkers go through years of training to ensure they don't see what is right in front of their faces. Yeah, very true. Academics don't live in the real world, do they? So it continues. We started coming of age in 2003, and economic conditions were nowhere close to as bad as the 1930s, 40s, or 70s. That's true. That's true. 2003 was kind of a boom period, right? At least for 4 or 5 years. When people had little trouble marrying and procreating, yet here we are, aging out of our ability to enjoy childhood, feeling death creep up on us. The video games have grown boring. The TV marathons are suffocating. The candy tastes like ashes in our mouths. We're committing suicide and consuming antidepressants at record rates. Wow, wow, wow. We try to accumulate even more, and it fails to make us happy. So this is kind of going back to The Richest Man in Babylon. You know, some of the problems that that guy faced. You know, he had a family, but he just wanted to find the things, but he didn't know how to do it. So the millennials are trying to accumulate even more, and it fails to make us happy. We don't know why, and we don't know how we got here. Well, I shall explain. My entire life. So this dude must be American. So Americans go through some tumultuous extremes from decade to decade, through generation to generation, right? Like, you guys invented this whole boomer, Gen X, millennial stuff. I never even heard of that till I, went to America. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. My entire life, the only message I got from school or church or college and the media was that every decision I made, from what degree to pursue to where I lived, to whether to marry, was with the goal of having maximally pleasurable life. Pleasure is fleeting. As Rolling Stones' Mick Jagger says, I can't get no satisfaction, even at 78, 80 years old, still prancing around like a loon. I do like Rolling Stones, though. Their music from the 60s was great. True, as someone raised in a conservative church, I was warned against fornication and substance abuse. But these were framed in terms of interfering with a good life. In the 1990s, I remember the 90s really well. That was kind of my decade, right? There was no difference between Christians and non-Christians. Yeah, that's interesting to note. Yeah, there's, like, when I was a kid, people went to church. Most people didn't, but we didn't make fun of them. Not really, no. Unless they started, quoting verses at you. But nah, people went to church. But I don't think anybody goes to church now in England. Hardly any. There's no difference between Christians and non-Christians in that general outlook. Both Christian and non-Christians were equally horrified at the notion that a bright young woman might not end up maximizing her potential, which meant putting 40 hours a week into a cubicle. Oh, okay. It's a different angle. Working girl, Melanie Griffith kind of thing. Okay. Both warned her against getting married too young because marriage could cut short a promising career. Evangelicals, for their part, indulged in pious fiction that the unmarried 25-year-olds in the church were all virgins, but still everyone agreed that the proper way to treat the world is as your playground. The world is your playground. Yeah, I got told that message as well. But yeah, mainly from the American media, right? Any kind of social responsibility or context to our choice making was completely absent from what our boomer the wise elders, told us. What is the social purpose of marriage? Conservative boomers couldn't say. They appealed to tradition without understanding why it existed. To a biblical literalism that was as mindless as it was quaint. So the boomers were the hippies, right? Of the 60s, free love and all that. In a world where the own self-indulgent concept of marriage had led to record-smashing divorce rates in the 70s and 80s. Free love, baby. And my generation growing up with every weekend alternating between parents. Ooh, yeah. The boomer had already set up the foundation of marriage as an exercise in self-indulgence. Whoa. Gay marriage came as the consequence. If marriage has a social purpose to channel and direct human sexuality in a way that promotes social cohesion, this is going deep, and provides for man's progeny, so his offspring, I guess, then gay marriage is nonsense. Oh, I'm getting into dangerous ground. But in natural law, if marriage has the social purpose to channel and direct human sexuality in a way that promotes social cohesion and provides for a man's progeny, then gay marriage is nonsense. It's an absurdity, but if it's just to be happy with the person you love, then why not? Yeah, if it's just some roommate you want to get along with, then why not? You've got the same hobbies, same likes, both like craft beer, both like decorating. It makes more sense. I understand, like I'll probably get along better with a dude in terms of living in a house, right? Probably design the house the same and set it up the way we both like, etc. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna be able to have a kid with that dude, unless you do some, IVF and surrogates and stuff like that. Which I think is kind of where we're heading. It seems like it. Similarly, we weren't told that the purpose of a job. Okay, here we go. This is about careers. Similarly, we weren't told that the purpose of a job is to provide for your family. Oh, yeah. If that's the point of working, then any kind of moral imperative to put women in the workplace evaporates. Well, true. I mean, can't have babies if you're in the workplace, corporate career. They make it tough for you to put your career ladder in jeopardy, isn't it? They don't really encourage it. Why would they want to be there? Find me a woman who dreams of providing a new car for her husband. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Or who feels any satisfaction at knowing that her money will be well spent by her husband or for the children. Oh my god. Handbags. Louboutins. Gucci. Money will be well spent by a husband for the children, or who feels the ability to take the husband and the kids to the beach for a weekend is worth that drudgery in the office. Oh my god. Yeah. Office. Sucks. At least you guys are working from home now. We were told work would be fulfilling. I hate every single job. Every single day. Working for somebody else. Even though I got value out of it, I think you should do it for 10, 15 years, maybe. No more than that. It's just to really learn the ropes of adults behavior. And if you work for a good company, like, value creation, marketing, sales. Yeah, if you're young, try and get into sales, right? If you can. Nobody can really explain why Grandpa was willing to drive from town to town. There we go. He makes my point. Town to town to sell vacuum cleaners, because delivering the same pitch for the thousandth time isn't fulfilling. Oh boy, at all. None of us ever thought to ask Grandma whether she envied Grandpa's long days on the road when she was at home with the kids. Mr. Mum, yeah, there's some dudes out there just, you have the role reversal right at home. Millennials are bored and angry in the workplace. We were told fulfillment would be there. Instead, it's work. Since we don't have families, it has no purpose. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. It's sad to watch my generation collapse into nihilism and fear as our bodies begin the process of dying. Well, he's throwing the punches. He's not laying anything out. The men become bugmen. I don't know what that means. Bugmen? Oh, living to consume, filling shelf after shelf with toys that their adult brains can't find amusement in because they know of nothing else to do. The women are in panic, desperately trying to hold on to their evaporating youth, trying to prove to themselves that a woman can be just as sexy and alluring at 35 as she could at 23. I'll let you decide. There's a lot of rage at the boomers, but it's aimless and uninformed. Mostly people are mad that they crashed the economy or destroyed the climate, as though the double-digit inflation and choking smog of 1978 was so much better. No, what the boomers did to us was what their parents did to them. They ruined us by trying to give us the life that they never had. Oh yeah, that's kind of what parents do, isn't it? If you come from a poor background or uneducated background, you want your kids to go to college, the best schools, even though school sucks and universities suck. Our grandparents grew up in the Depression and overindulged their children with toys and attention to the point the boomers failed to develop any real sense of self-awareness. And what, you may ask, did the boomers lack? The boomers had their idyllic teenage years cut short, did they? I thought they had the best teenage years, no? World War II and silence still ran the world. Okay. It made our parents put on a tie, go to work and serve the man. Okay, I get that. Before they were ready to stop playing. Your average boomer male looks back at the summer of '69 wistfully, wishing it could have gone on forever. Yeah, I talked to some boomers like that. They were like, man, those couple of years were the best. And yeah, after that, they were like, angry. The boomer female thinks that it wasn't for that marriage and those babies she'd had by the time she was 60. Oh, we're going to read this line. The boomer female, imagine a boomer female, Hillary Clinton, thinks that it wasn't, she's one of them, thinks that it wasn't for that marriage and those babies she had by the time she was 26. She would have been an editor of a fashion magazine. She never would have gotten that baby belly. She would have been young and sexy forever. Boomers have a perpetual teenage mentality. I didn't know that. I guess so. That the parents never understood. And they raised us to be the eternal teenagers they didn't get to be. Yeah, when you have kids, don't force anything, your hang-ups onto them. Just let them be. Just lay down a framework of, simple rules. Let them play. Let them discover. Feed them well, good stuff. I mean, I think raising kids is pretty easy, right? If you don't overcomplicate it. But if you've got hang-ups and you try to put them on your kids, they're going to resent you forever till the day you die. When you're 17, the idea of just buying cool stuff, having consequence-free sex, and binge consuming media for the rest of your life sounds fantastic. Yeah. Even when you're 27, it's like, oh yeah, that's all I want to do. You do not understand that when you are 40, you will not want. You know what? When you are 40, you will not want that anymore. That's true. Like going out for me to pubs and bars and clubs, just such a turn off. There are tons of guys my age and younger, and like I've hardly watched any TV or movies in years now. There are tons of guys my age and younger who wear Star Wars T-shirts, collect Marvel Funko Pops, and have gotten vasectomies. Whoa! And they have no idea why they're so miserable. Wow, millennials in America really screwed up. There are women my age who just broke up with another living boyfriend of 3 years and have no children. Yeah, I see that a lot. American women, they like date someone for 3 to 5 years, break up, then get another boyfriend for 3 to 5 years, and do that for like 5-6 times, isn't it? So here we are, and we're falling apart. Our parents instilled in us a totalizing selfishness that they never got to indulge, assuring us that marriage and family would just come when the time is right. As far as they were concerned, that's just what happens. Except it just happened to them because all of the social capital of previous generations that was still there for them. Yeah, imagine that if you were a teenager in the 60s and 70s, you was still kind of living off to those previous generations, right? The silence and the WW2's generation, greatest generation. Okay, so the boomers raised all that social capital to the ground. They just tore it up. Now my generation is absolutely miserable. Wow, because we're reaching that age where your brain shifts modes. Your brain does shift as you age, from consume and copulate to prepare your offspring for adulthood. Ooh, yeah. And we don't understand that is what is actually happening. Women of my generation have been told that their entire lives that loneliness is a psychological disorder. Whoa, that children are parasites. Flipping egg. Is it going that deep in America? And what they're telling the Gen Z are the same stuff, but amplified. And that exhausting yourself for 40 hours a week at work is the meaning of life. It turns out that continuing to live as though you were a teenager does not, in fact, bequeath eternal youth. Age is just a number, quote unquote. It's the most insidious of all boomer proverbs. Boomer proverbs. They should write a book. Boomer proverbs. Should be some classic lines in there. Okay. For my generation, there's not really a quick path back out. Yeah, imagine if you're 41 and stuck in a crappy corporate gig and just dating or having a girlfriend or single. Boy, all the social institutions of this country are being detonated in the quest for money and self. And I think this is pre-COVID. This is pre-BLM. This is pre-everything, right? All the social institutions of this country are being detonated in the quest for money and self, or by the hysterical condemnation of every kind of organic social relation as sexist or racist. In the cities, nobody knows anybody. Professional associations and social clubs are borderline non-existent. American cities are just the worst. The way they're set up, on the grids, and it's just not organically designed for social interaction. They generally have lack of a central social hub, like a European city has a city square, right? in American cities, they have a business district as their downtown. Worship the money, right? Worship the office. Nobody knows or cares about anyone, and nobody knows how to start. It's so sick and twisted that my generation used the words community to refer to people who buy the same consumer products. Whoa. Like going to see a movie means you're part of the Star Wars community. Yeah, all this cosplay, adults dressing up and stuff like that. It's weird, right? People buy the same consumer products. Yeah. Even churches are being consolidated into massive theme parks where anonymous masses of people go to be entertained. Centuries-old congregations have shutters as the people move to the megaplex church. Wow. Brain-dead conservative pundits can only worry our declining birth rate in terms of funding entitlements or GDP. Hardly anyone will come right out and say a society with low fertility is fundamentally sick and disordered. Millennials need to accept that the values inculcated in us were a load of horse crap. I don't see that happening, as we're mostly upset that we can't live the idyllic lives of self-indulgence the boomers promised us. Even suggesting that divorce should be harder, marriage should be younger, and women are built to be mothers, not office drones, causes the average millennial to dissolve into hysterical outrage. We're the generation that thinks having a country is racist. And the most important thing about space exploration is making sure hijab-clad Muslims are part of it. Well, yeah, astronauts who wear the hijab. Go girl. So we're probably not going to snap out of it. Ooh, that's a damning conclusion. We'll be buried. We'll be buried in Batman coffins, surrounded by our Xbox games. Maybe whoever buries us will finally discard the morality of the boomers. Whoa. Millennials. Boy, I didn't know your stuff went that deep. What do you guys think? Leave a comment. You're probably not going to like this, but yeah, I'm going to a wedding this year, and oh my god, yeah, elderly couple, first time getting married. All right, that's cool. I'll go for the fun and giggles, I guess, but it's not really romantic, is it? Watching their knees pop as they get up from their tables. Yeah, so hopefully that sparked a few brains and maybe saved a few younger millennials. I think you got some millennials in their 20s. Young millennials in your 20s, look at the older millennials turning 40 and see if you want to end up like that. All right, guys. Peace. Balaji.